Welcome, dear friend, to Godly Sleep, a place where your heart can finally rest. You don't have to carry the weight of the day any longer. Whatever has been pressing on your mind, the stress, the noise, the worries that seem to follow you even into the night, you can let them go. Here, in this quiet space, you are safe, you are seen, you are loved. Close your eyes and take a slow breath in. Feel it fill your lungs. Then gently release it as the world grows still. Let God's peace begin to wrap around you like a warm blanket. Every word you hear tonight comes from Scripture, a message of hope, comfort, and divine calm that your soul has been longing for. When you can't sleep, when the world feels heavy, when you just need a moment to breathe again, come back here. You are not alone. Thousands of hearts are listening with you tonight, resting under the same promise of peace that God gives freely to all who seek Him. Here at Godly Sleep, we believe that rest is more than just closing your eyes. It's allowing your spirit to be renewed in the presence of the one who loves you most. So find a soft place to rest. Let go of your thoughts and allow the Word of God to lead you gently into peace. If this space brings you comfort, consider subscribing and joining our growing community of believers who seek nightly peace through Scripture and reflection. Together, we're building not just a channel, but a family of faith, rest, and hope. Tonight, may you drift into sleep, knowing that you are deeply loved, perfectly held, and never alone. I am glad you have come to this quiet hour. I sit with a soft lamp beside me and a Bible resting on my knees. The room breathes slowly. The lights outside dim. A hush settles like a thin blanket across the house. I invite you to make room for this time. Settle into a position that feels safe. Pull a weight of comfort over your shoulders if you wish. Allow the world to move a little farther away. My voice moves slowly. I choose each phrase with care. The aim is healing, not instruction. The aim is rest, not debate. Let the sound of the pages turning be a subtle guide. The rhythm is gentle. The pace is calm. I am not asking for answers. I am offering space. Take a soft breath with me. Breathe in slowly for a count that feels natural. Hold that breath for a quiet beat. Release it without hurry. Repeat once. Allow each exhale to carry away tension. Notice the points where the body meets the bed. Feel the weight of limbs soften, the jaw unclench, the forehead smooth. These small changes matter. They invite the heart to open a little more. This is a safe place. The language here leans to mercy. The words speak of assurance and rest. They do not press for explanations. They reach for comfort. Imagine a steady light beside you. Not blinding, but warm. It does not demand perfect posture. It simply holds. Picture a hand hovering nearby that steadies rather than corrects. Let that image ease a tightness somewhere near your ribs. Let the promise of care settle there like a gentle tide. I will read passages that move like a lullaby. The lines are measured and clear. I allow pauses where the words can sink in. There is space between sentences for your breathing. There is room to land softly on a phrase. If an image arrives, give it time. If a memory surfaces, do not chase it away. Let it float by like a small boat on calm water. Observe it without pushing. Listen to the rhythm of my voice and to the rhythm of your own heart. Both can guide you toward rest. This time is for healing. Healing takes many shapes. It can be the easing of a tight thought. It can be the slow untying of grief from the hands. It can be a small ember of hope that begins to glow again. Healing often begins with permission. Permission to breathe. Permission to be tired. Permission to hope. Permission to receive kindness that does not require anything in return. Receive this permission now. Let it be a gentle command that you follow without resistance. We approach the readings with humility. There is no pressure to understand everything. There is only an invitation to be present. Listen as if the words were light falling across the palms. Let them warm what feels cold. Let them steady what feels shaky. If a phrase touches something deep, rest there a while. If the words drift past, allow them to pass without judgment. The care in these moments comes not from perfect comprehension, but from simple presence. I keep the tone spare and clear. Short sentences help the mind settle. I avoid long chains of thought that tug at the mind. Instead, I offer simple images: a stream, a lamp, a hand, a shore. These images are anchors. They do not demand complicated theology. They point gently to mercy and to rest. The Christ we touch in these moments is tender. The focus stays on mercy, on comfort, and on a steady hope. There is no argument here, only presence. Breath again with ease. Feel the rising and falling. Each inhalation brings a soft awareness. Each exhalation releases a small worry. The body remembers how to rest when given permission. The mind remembers how to still when offered a steady cadence. Night sounds rise and fall outside the window. A distant cœur, a bird settling in the eaves. Let these ordinary sounds be part of the evening hymn. They are companions to the words read aloud. I place my hand gently on the open page. The paper feels familiar. The letters invite. The sentences are meant to be tasted slowly. They unfold like a quiet path. If a thought arrives that pulls you away, notice it and guide attention back to the sound. The voice is a warm anchor. It calls you home to this room, to this body, to this breath. No one expects an answer. No one demands a performance. Just listen. Rest. There will be moments of silence between readings. These silences are not empty. They are full of the room's breathing. They are full of the quiet work of settling. Use them to place a small image in your heart. Perhaps imagine a gentle sunrise over a low hill. Perhaps picture a safe shore where a single wave softens upon the sand. Keep the image uncomplicated. Allow it to carry a sense of promise rather than a problem to solve. As I read, trust the simplicity of the language. The words are plain and steady, meant to soothe rather than to puzzle. They touch on forgiveness as a calm murmur, not as a debate. They rest on the thought that mercy comes like rain slow, persistent, and renewing. Hope appears as a small lamp in a dark room. enough to see the next step. These are the gentle truths that guide this hour. If sleep comes before the final page is turned, that is a good thing. This time is designed to lead toward rest. Sleep is a healing place. It is not a failure or a missing of the point. It is a welcome result. Should sleep take hold, allow it. The words continue to do their work. Even when they are received in a dream, the care woven into the cadence reaches into the night's quiet and tends to the heart. Open hands often help. Place palms upward. If that feels comfortable, this posture speaks of receiving rather than holding on. Let the muscles around the shoulders unclench. Let the palms be soft. The posture is a small physical prayer. Gentle and unspoken, it reminds the body that it is allowed to give up the need to control. That release invites the mind to follow. I will also read brief reflections between passages. These reflections are tiny beacons. They help the mind rest in a single thought. They do not analyze. They do not argue. They simply pause and name what the heart needs most: rest, mercy, hope. Each reflection ends with a soft invitation to breathe and to receive. The language is humble. The tone is patient. The reflections are short, so that the room's quiet can have its due. If a tear comes, allow it. Tears are a natural part of letting go. They rinse the windows of the soul. They do not harm the work of healing. If laughter bubbles up instead, little joy is a gentle companion in the night. All of these responses are welcomed in this space. There is no correct way to receive this time. There is only the authentic movement of your heart. At some point, I will close the book, but not sharply. The closing is soft, like the lowering of a curtain after a quiet play. The final words leave room. They do not attempt to be all answers. They are a benediction of sorts, a reminder that you are not alone in the dark. Mercy accompanies. Hope remains. Presence steadies. And then a pause that asks nothing more than permission to rest. Should any worry linger when the reading ends, hold the memory of the lamp image. Keep it on a corner shelf of the mind. Visit it when the night grows loud. Return to that steady light. When a thought tries to race, the lamp does not fix everything at once, but it does show a small path forward. That path is enough for now. If the mind wants to replay a sentence, let it. If the heart holds on to a single phrase, allow that phrase to be a small garment in which to rest. Do not demand perfection. Do not expect a full resolution of every ache. Healing often comes in small increments. A single evening can start a shift. A single breath can begin a return to peace. The work of rest is patient and kind. I keep my pace deliberate. Each sentence lands carefully. The voice does not hurry. There is time for the words to be absorbed. There is time for the heart to catch up. If the eyes drift closed, that is welcome. If the mind wanders, guide it back gently with a cadence of breathing. All of this is part of the journey. There are no missteps here, only small returns to the present. Before I begin the first passage, take one final, full breath. Feel the chest rise and then settle. Notice the weight of the blanket or the sheet. Listen to the small sounds in the room. Remember that this time is a gift you give yourself. Hold it lightly, but hold it. The reading will move slowly. The voice will remain calm. The images will be simple. The aim is peace. I place the finger on the page and let the line of text become a soft way forward. The lamp near my hand glows steady. The house is quiet. Together we enter the first passage, letting its words fall like rain on dry ground. The evening opens like a small door. Step through it at your own pace. Allow the night to be a kind friend. Allow the words to be a gentle guide. Now I begin. Before I begin the passage, a small note. If this hour brings you ease, consider bringing another into it. Share this space with someone who needs a gentle night. A simple subscribe helps this circle grow. A short comment tells me what settles you. Invite a friend to sit in the shadow of the lamp. This is an offering, not Adiman. It keeps this quiet place alive. Now breathe with me once. Let the inhale come slow. Hold a soft beat. Let the exhale open like a sigh. Settle into the mattress. Let the sheet warm around the shoulders. Hands rest easily. Eyes close if that feels right. The room keeps its hush. Outside noises pass without urgency. I turn the page carefully. The paper whispers. My finger follows the lines. Tonight I read from a psalm that moves like a slow river. It is not long. Its images are simple and strong. The words point to rest. They speak of care found in steady presence. I let each image unfold without hurry. A shepherd appears in the mind. Not a towering figure, but one who knows the land. Gentle steps, quiet attention. The image holds no sternness. It holds a quiet guidance that leads away from sharp edges. Imagine being guided to open grass. The grass cushions the feet. There is space to lie down. The light is not harsh. It warms but does not burn. Water comes next. Not a rushing torrent, but still water that reflects a clear sky. It invites a slow sip. It invites the body to pause. Listen to the imagined sound. A soft lapping, a silence that is full. Place a hand near the surface and feel the cool. The mind often rushes to tasks. Allow it this small stillness. The water is not a test. It is a kindness. Paths of peace follow. They are not long and winding with complicated turns. They are straight enough to trust. The direction is gentle. Steps feel safe. If there is weariness, these paths ask simply for steady feet. If there is doubt, the path does not scold. It offers the next small step. The pace is yours. Move at the breath's rhythm. A valley comes into view. The idea of a valley can stir unease, yet the psalm does not leave the valley empty. It places a presence there closer than fear. Imagine a hand near the shoulder. Imagine a shadow that does not smother. Even when light dims, there is a companion on the path. The presence does not erase the trouble. It steadies the heart enough to continue. Comfort is described in small forms. A staff that guides, a rod that keeps close. Not tools of harm, but of care. A table appears next. It is set in an open place. Food is simple. The table does not demand perfection. The setting is gentle and hospitable. An enemy's gaze may be present, yet the table remains. The offering feels like mercy in a room where walls are soft. Anointing of the head is a tender image. Oil warms the skin. It is not pomp. It is a small sign of honor and care. A cup pour ouvrir. The sense is abundance that spills in a harmless way. The notion comforts. Scarcity loosens its grip. A word here, abundance, in this text, is quiet. It is not a loud claim. It settles like warm bread on a night table. Goodness and faithful care follow like a river. They do not chase with force. They move near. Think of small green shoots by a well. They do not demand attention, but they grow steadily. The presence of consistent kindness is the point. It continues through days. It threads through nights. It is not always dramatic. It is steady and true. I pause now. Let the last image rest a while. Take another breath. Feel the ribs widen. Let the air fill the lower belly. Hold a second. Release slowly. Notice any soft movement in the chest. Let the exhale lower a bit of the day's weight. Quiet the thoughts that nag like small flies. Let the Psalms' images smooth them out. The reading resumes in a gentle tone. I am aware of how quickly the mind can run. The voice stays even. Sentences land one at a time. Each image has space to breathe. The reading is not a lecture. It is a lullaby written in a careful hand. Nothing pressed. Nothing heavy. The shepherd image returns. This time closer. The care is personal rather than distant. Picture small attention to a foot that hurts. Picture a hand fixing a simple blanket. The care is practical and kind. It meets need in small ways. It does not promise an untroubled life. It promises company on the way. When darkness seems full, remember the lamp at the bedside. The Psalm's presence acts like that lamp. It does not end the night. It simply makes the next step noticeable. If breath tightens, bring attention to the lamp image. See its circle of light. Let its warmth touch an anxious place in the chest. Hold that warmth as a small truth. The room listens as the reading moves slowly. Between sentences. Long pauses open like doors. Use those pauses. Let the mind settle into a single word from the passage. Mercy. Rest. Presence. Let that word be a pebble in a still pool. Watch ripples fade. Keep breathing. The pace is forgiving. There is no demand for theological skill. The language leans toward care rather than argument. Mercy appears as rain that comes quietly. It refreshes without spectacle. Hope looks like a small star visible between soft clouds. It does not have to explain itself. It only needs to be seen. If a memory surfaces that feels sharp, do not push it away. Let it come as a passing cloud. Observe it with a kind attention. You do not have to fix it tonight. The psalm invites the safe presence that can sit with pain without being overwhelmed. Imagine a companion who holds a lantern, not a judge's scales. The lantern shows the way, but does not erase shadows instantly. Often, a prayer is simply a breath with a name. No complex sentences. No grand confessions. A single quiet thought of trust can be enough. Let that be practiced here. Hold one small phrase to yourself. Like a soft pebble. Let it be enough. These small acts gather over time into something steady. The voice slows even more. I read the last lines with extra care. The images overlap. Shelter. Carré. Abundance. Presents. Each one nests into the other like simple blocks. Stack them gently in the chest. Let them become a small home, where the heart can rest. The rooms are modest. They are warm. They do not demand perfection. As the reading winds down, keep the breathing slow. Notice the way the body answers. The shoulders sink another fraction. The jaw loosens. An inner tension may ease. This slow unwinding is the intended work of the night. It is small and patient. It does not need dramatic change. Small shifts are enough. Before I close the page, a quiet reflection. Mercy's rhythm often repeats itself in small acts. A low word, a shared silence, a handed piece of bread. These are the ways tenderness re-enters a life. The psalm recognizes this. It points toward the ordinary kindnesses that hold a night together. Remember one simple kindness from today. Let it return like a warm cloth. Now the page rests. The lamp keeps its glow. The house breathes in the soft dark. If sleep feels close, allow it. If the mind stays awake, keep the lamp image in the corner of thinking. Visit it when a thought wants to hurry. The presence you encountered in the reading remains as a gentle companion. A gentle invitation again. If this hour helps, share it. Let another find this quiet. A brief subscribe keeps the gathering small and steady. A short comment tells me what image settled you. These actions are small gifts that let this circle continue to meet in the hush. I lower the book slowly. The closing is not final. It leaves room for the night's work. Mercy continues in small ways while the body rests. Hope remains like the lamp's glow. Presence stays like a hand near the shoulder. When ready, take one last slow breath with me. Hold it slightly. Release with the thought that tonight a gentle guide walked beside the path. Let the image of green pastures and still waters settle. Keep the lamp on the mind's small shelf. Rest now. In trust and in peace. The reading ends for this part. The night continues. The next passage arrives when it is right. For now, the room keeps its hush. The breath keeps its slow pattern. Sleep, if it comes, carries the images like soft blankets. If wakefulness remains, return to the steady lamp and the quiet path. Both are enough for this hour. I slow the turning of the page and let the room grow quieter. The lamp throws a small pool of light across the paper. The rest of the house breathes at a distance. I invite you now to embrace this stillness more fully. Settle deeper into the bed. Feel the mattress hold the body. Let the lamp be an old friend in the corner of the eye. Its glow is steady. It does not rush. Breathe with me once. Inhale gently. Hold a whisper of a beat. Exhale like a small tide. Repeat once more. Each breath asks for a little more ease. Let the shoulders soften. Let the hands relax. Notice the weight at the belly. It is a simple measure of presence. Even that small awareness is enough to begin. I open the Gospel to a place where a gentle counsel waits. The passage asks simply that we not carry tomorrow upon today's shoulders. The voice there advises a steady attention to the present, not a frantic forecasting of what might come. I do not read this as a demand for perfect calm. I read it as permission to be human. Tomorrow will come with its own burdens. Tonight is a small pocket of time to put down what can be set down now. Worries arrive in many shapes. A long list in the mind, a thin, persistent ache behind the ribs, a replay of what might be, if only. They come like small callers at the window, tapping for attention. Some are loud, some are a low hum that refuses to quit. None of them need to be silenced by force. They need gentleness. They need a place where they can be seen and tended. Picture a traveler along a quiet road. The traveler carries a pack that grows heavier with every imagined step. Each thought of tomorrow adds a stone. The body tires under the imagined weight before the journey even begins. The counsel I read tonight asks the traveler to set the pack down for a while, to rest with the load beside the path. The load does not vanish instantly. It simply sits where it can be noticed without being carried through the dark. Worry often masks itself as responsibility. It feels like care. It promises control. But worry and care are not the same. Care can be calm. It moves with steady hands. Worry races and tightens. I offer a small practice now, a gentle exercise to separate them. First, notice when a thought presses forward. Name it softly. A short sentence in the mind will do. This is fear. This is what might happen. There is no need to argue with it. A naming is enough to put a small space between the thought and the heart. This is not avoidance. It is a simple sorting. Second, breathe toward it. Send the next inhale to that place of tightness. Imagine the air as a soft, cool cloth. Let it touch the worry. Exhale and watch the cloth lift a tiny bit of weight away. Repeat this a few times. The breath does not promise to solve everything. It promises to make room. Third, place the worry somewhere. Picture a small table beside the bed. Set the worry on the table like a folded garment. It need not be abandoned or denied. It simply rests where it can be looked at later, with clearer eyes. This act of placing is Atani ritual of trust. It says, "For the moment, I will give this attention of mine to the night." The teaching in Matthew gives a hand to hold in this practice. It invites a rhythm of day-by-day living. The future keeps its own demands. Today has enough of its own. I do not pretend this is easy. The mind likes to plan and to fear. Yet the invitation here is not to ignore prudence. It is to release the habit of carrying tomorrow's burdens before their time. Think of worry like a weather forecast that plays on repeat. The repeated listening does not change the sky. It only unsettles the one who listens. One hearing, one small preparation is often enough. Then live in the weather as it arrives. If rain comes, open a small umbrella then. If sun comes, roll up the sleeves then. Living in this way keeps resources for real moments rather than stretching them thin across imagined ones. God's presence threads gently through this counsel. Presence is not an abstract word tonight. It sits near the bed as surely as the lamp. It is close enough to hear the hush between breaths. Presence does not erase difficulty. It changes the way difficulty is born. Imagine a companion who walks at a steady pace beside the traveler. The companion's steps are not loud. They do not take over. They are simply there. That nearness lightens the path. I offer one image to hold a simple hand on the traveler's pack. The hand does not pry the pack open. It rests on top. It steadies rather than demands. That is the tone of God's nearness in these words. It is not harsh. It is quiet and kind. When worry comes, imagine that hand. Let the skin of the mind feel that contact. Let it remind the heart that no one walks alone in the dark. If anxiety visits in the night, try a small anchor phrase. Use it like a pebble in the palm of thought. A short sentence such as this: only today's step is mine. Say it in the mind with softness. No bounding. No rehearsal. Just a gentle steadiness. Repeat when needed. Trust that short phrases can steady an errant thought more reliably than long reasoning. I also suggest small practical gestures. Tight fingers often mirror tight thoughts. So ease the hands. Spread the fingers and let them rest. Notice the points where the body meets the bed. Soften that contact. A tiny change that will register in the nervous system. It is a physical language that tells the brain permission to relax. There is grace in small repairs. A tiny act of care completed in the present can soothe tomorrow's fear. A single email sent. A brief call made. A simple plan jotted down. These small moves settle a mind because they convert imagined worry into practical steps. If action is needed, let those small acts take the night's edge off. If action is not possible tonight, give the decision restful ground to wait on the bedside table. I read now a short, quiet reflection. It is not a sermon. It is a soft observation. Worry is often about a future that has not yet formed. It is the mind rehearsing possible griefs. Rehearsal is not the same as readiness. Being ready can be a calm preparation. Rehearsal is a tense loop. Allow preparation to be deliberate and kind. Allow rehearsal to fade. Let us breathe together twice. Each time, imagine the inhale drawing in steadiness. Let the exhale dissolve a small worry. Feel the ribs move. Notice the gentle weight of breath. The lamp continues to glow. The room keeps its hush. These are small companions. There may be deep concerns that do not yield to simple measures. The counsel offered does not dismiss those pains. It acknowledges their weight. It asks only that they not be allowed to govern every hour. Even in larger sorrows, small practices can create breathing room. A single evening that permits rest is a modest gift. Care may continue tomorrow with sharper eyes and steadier hands. When the mind drifts to what-ifs, offer it a small task. Ask it to list only 2 next steps that are within reach. The list may be a single line. Keep it short. The goal is not to fix everything at once. It is to channel energy towards something tangible. The mind prefers movement. Give it a motion that fits the night's limit. Remember also that mercy threads through this place like a slow river. It does not roar. It moves steadily beside the path. Mercy is practical and immediate. In the little things, a warm blanket, a kind word, a short, honest breath. These are the ways God's presence often arrives. Expect small mercies. Let them come like soft rain. I place my finger along the line of text and feel the page's fine texture. The words read here tonight are small lamps themselves. They point toward an ever-present care that keeps its watch. If worry rises again, return to the lamp in the room and then to the lamp in the text. Both are available. Both are gentle. Before I close this section, one last simple invitation. When an anxious thought comes, do not chase it away. Greet it like a minor visitor. Name it. Breathe toward it. Set it on the small table, then bring attention to a single, kind action you can take tomorrow. This practice trains the heart to remain present without becoming captive. Now, breathe with me once more. Slow and soft. Let the inhale fill the belly. Let the exhale release a little of the night's tension. Keep the lamp in the corner of the mind. Let the image of a steady hand rest on the pack. Know that presence is nearer than worry's loud voice. I close the page with care. The closing is not an end, but a soft hinge. The lesson remains like a small note by the bedside. Rest is allowed tonight. Tomorrow has its own path to tread. For now, let the breath and the lamp and the gentle nearness of presence be enough. Keep this quiet counsel with you as you drift. The world outside goes on, but in this room, peace is invited and given. The lamp still glows at the bedside. The Bible rests open on my lap. I keep the voice low. The room listens. I turn to a short line in Ephesians. I read it softly. It asks for kindness. It asks for tender hearts. It asks for forgiveness. As God in Christ forgave, the words sit lightly in the air. They do not press. They offer a simple way. Forgiveness is not an argument. It is a small, steady action. It moves like a breath. It loosens the tight grip around the chest. It clears a little space on the inside. When anger or hurt clings, it makes the night smaller. Forgiveness widens the room for rest. Worries come back tonight. They often do. They arrive as a list, as an ache, as a restless replay. Many of them bend toward blame. The mind says what should have been done by another. The heart tightens at an old slight. In that tightness, sleep becomes thin and brittle. Forgiveness does not pretend the hurt never happened. Forgiveness simply helps to lay the hurt down where it can be tended without bearing its full weight through the dark. Imagine a small table by the bed. The table is plain. It holds a cloth and a shallow bowl. Take one worry now, not all at once. Choose a single one. Hold its shape in thought. Give it a brief name. A word will do. Then set it gently on the cloth. Feel the hand relax a fraction. The verse I read invites a tender heart toward others. It includes ourselves as well. Self-blame can be loud in the night. It repeats mistakes until the body frays. Self-forgiveness is allowed here. It is not indulgence. It is a needed medicine. Be gentle with the one who stumbles. A kind word to oneself can be a quiet bridge to sleep. Forgiveness is an offering. It often begins small. A decision to not rehearse an injury becomes the first step. It need not be dramatic. No grand proclamation required. A quiet choice to release an old grievance makes room for mercy to work. Mercy often moves slowly. It does not insist on immediate forgetting. It invites a steady softening instead. Picture a river on a calm night. Imagine dropping a small stone into the water. Watch the ripples move out and fade. The stone sinks. The surface regains its glass. Forgiveness can be like that stone. The act is small. The peace it leaves spreads quietly. The river does not erase the stone. It simply carries its weight differently. There is a practical way to practice this. Take a few breaths. Inhale calm. Exhale tension. Bring to mind one person or one memory that presses tonight. Name the feeling without argument. Say to yourself, in a soft thought, I choose to release this for now. Picture placing the named hurt on the table. Close your hand after you set it down. Feel how the fingers ease. Then imagine a hand of compassion near you. It might be a comforting palm on your shoulder. It might be a warm breath at the back of the neck. Let the image be simple. Let it be kind. The scene does not solve everything. It simply changes the posture. The body can relax a little more. The chest can breathe a longer breath. Forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation. Sometimes the gentle act is simply to let go of the hot, constant replay of what happened. Release does not require forgetting. Release is an offering to the work of grace. Grace is not a force that erases memory. It is a presence that changes how memory sits in us. The promise of provision links closely with this mercy. Worry often lives in fear of lack. The mind forecasts scarcity. But the same quiet voice that calls for forgiveness also points to provision. When the grip of resentment loosens, hands open to receive what is already present, a soft trust grows. It is not a loud claim. It is a small confidence that needs can be met, step by step. Think of provision as the lamp's light. It does not burn away every shadow at once. It only shows the next few steps clearly. That clarity is enough. It allows a steady footfall. A promise of provision does not erase tomorrow's needs. It steadies the present. It says, for tonight, some care is near. Let that care be enough to rest upon. A gentle practice helps the mind learn this rhythm. Each evening, name one small worry. Set it on the table. Offer forgiveness for the part of the day where anger or bitterness took hold. Ask quietly that provision be given for the need. Then do one small, practical thing, if it is possible without strain. A note, a tiny plan, a small phone call, one item that aligns action with trust. This is not to fix everything. It is to show the mind that the heart can both release and act with calm hand. Compassion toward others often returns to the self in surprising ways. When mercy is extended outward, it becomes easier to breathe inward. When a forgiving choice is made toward someone else, The body registers relief. A knot at the base of the neck loosens. The jaw unclenches. The breath settles. These are gentle changes, but they matter in the night. Forgiveness can be repeated. The mind may need to set the same stone on the table many times. Each setting is not failure. It is practice. Kindness grows by habit. Patient repetition quiets the watchful, accusing mind. Allow the process to be slow. Expect small victories. Celebrate the tiny eases that appear. There is a quiet courage in choosing to forgive. It asks for honesty. It asks for softness. It does not deny the cost of harm. It refuses the heat of constant replay. The courage is not dramatic. It is a willingness to exchange heavy burdens for a lighter path tonight. That exchange keeps the body and the spirit ready for rest. If the night feels too full, focus on one short phrase to carry. It might be, tenderly, I choose mercy. Use it as an anchor. Say it once. Then breathe. Let the words move through the chest like a small current. No need to repeat them until they are perfect. One quiet holding is enough to begin. A small detail matters. If the hands clench, smooth them on the blanket. If the shoulders hold tight, roll them gently back and let them fall. The body responds to soft cues. Forgiveness is not only a decision of the mind, it is a practice of the body as well. The posture of release helps the heart to follow. Sometimes, of course, deep wounds remain. Forgiveness, in those cases, may be a patient companion that takes many nights. It will not be hurried. There is no shame in slow healing. Each night, a small act of release is a step. Each morning, a quiet intention to choose mercy again is a way forward. Mercy builds with time like a low, steady light. The reading I give tonight is not a rule. It is an invitation. It asks for kindness. It asks for tender hearts. It asks for forgiveness in the measure that it was first received. These words are gentle. They do not demand a moral victory by morning. They offer a path to sleep that is lighter and more true. As the breath slows, choose one small image to carry into sleep. Perhaps it is the table with the folded cloth. Perhaps it is the river where stones sink. Perhaps it is a hand resting gently on the shoulder. Let that picture be simple. Let it be soft. Keep it near the heart. If a face or a memory rises in the night, repeat the small practice. Name it. Place it. Breathe through it. Offer mercy inward and outward in turn. Trust that provision follows tender hands. Do not expect dramatic proof. Watch instead for small comforts, a calm morning, a cleared thought. A quiet mial. These are the ways grace often keeps watch. Before closing the page, another brief invitation. Tomorrow, in the light of day, try one small act of kindness toward the one whose memory presses. A note left without demand, a simple word that offers a hand instead of a hammer. If contact is unsafe or unwise, choose instead a private act of goodwill. Send a thought of well-being. Small gestures do not erase pain. They plant seeds that time will tend. Now breathe in slowly. Hold a soft beat. Let the breath out like a long, gentle sigh. Feel the lamp's glow at the edge of sight. Notice the weight of the blanket. Sense the ease that comes with a decision to let go. Even if only for tonight, I close the book with care. The pages make a soft sound. The lamp remains. Mercy remains. Provision remains as a steady, modest promise. Rest into the space that forgiveness creates. Let the heart grow quieter. Let the mind fold its lists. Sleep is welcome. Tonight, forgiveness is a small light on the bedside table. Keep it there. Return to it if the night stirs. Trust that one gentle choice can ease the way. The house breathes. The lamp watches. The Bible rests. Peace settles like a warm cloth across the shoulders. Rest now. In mercy and in provision, the lamp stays low. The Bible rests on my lap. I breathe with the room. A small story arrives now. It moves slow. It is simple. It is about two friends and a misunderstanding that opens into mercy. I know these kinds of stories. They have small beginnings. A morning mist, a passing look, a message left unread. The harm is usually not great in itself. It grows because the mind fills in missing pieces. A small gap becomes a canyon. Two people stand on opposite edges and build stories about the other. The heart hardens where only a bruise belongs. In this tale, two friends share a long habit of plain things. Coffee on slow Saturdays, a walk by the river, a socket fixed without comment. The friendship is full of ordinary trust. They do not notice how little words sometimes carry when they are tired. The small habits patch things together. Each relies on the other without thought. That habit itself becomes a kind of shelter. A misunderstanding arrives in an ordinary way. One friend needs help on a weekday. A message is sent and not answered. It sits unseen because the other is held under an urgent need. The sender stares at an empty reply box and fills it with a story the other did not care. The other chose someone else. The other forgot. The mind writes a verdict with no witness. The heart closes in response. The other friend is not aware of the verdict at first. Life presses. A parent grows frail. A late-night phone call pulls the hours into quiet service. The message goes unread because the thumb is tired and the eyes are heavy. Guilt wakes with the dawn. An explanation comes that is clumsy and small. The first friend already carries a hurt like a stone in a pocket. Words stumble and do not reach the chest where anger is shaped. Distance grows. A few weeks pass. The small rituals stop. Coffee cups cool in different mugs. The river walk is taken alone. Each person begins to tell themselves a story that keeps the wound warm. The house of trust gains a leak. I do not tell this to make blame easy. There is nothing noble in creating pain. The point is that misunderstandings live between ordinary people. They are not crimes. They are sad clutter. They harden the night. One evening, a quiet habit returns to the story. A small lamp is set on the porch. The person who was overlooked walks by it and sees a familiar shadow. A decision forms without fanfare. Forgiveness begins as a small motion. It is not a speech or a demand. It is a hand that loosens from a tight grip. It is a choice to step out from the marriage of resentment and imagined reasons. The act is tiny. A kettle is boiled. A mug is set on the porch step. Not a grand apology. Not a long explanation. A short note is left under the cup. Only enough to say that care remains. The note itself is plain and quick. The sort of message that would not make it into a book. But that is precisely its strength. It does not try to prove anything. It simply signals a willingness to share space again. The friend who returns to the porch finds the cup. Surprise melts into unease. The hurt reactivates. Yet the sight of the kettle's steam and the familiar ring of the mug have a soft effect. A memory of countless ordinary mornings floats up. The weight in the chest loses a fraction of its mass. The friend does not need to be persuaded intellectually. The body remembers what the heart used to know. That night, a quiet prayer is breathed beneath the blanket. The words are short and humble. They ask for gentleness. They ask for the courage to let go of small cruelties. A line from a letter read earlier hovers in the mind. It says that grace is not about achievement. It says that power often arrives in a weakness that is honest. The phrase returns again and again. Grace is sufficient. It makes a space where two brittle edges can meet without shattering. I have read that line aloud before. I have rested my finger on the verse and let the syllables settle. It does not promise instant pardon of every wrong. It witnesses that mercy is near when the heart admits its own smallness. When pride falls quiet, grace appears like a lamp placed at the threshold. Things needed for the next step are waiting there. The next morning is ordinary. The two friends exchange no heroics, no long confessions. One opens the gate, and the other accepts a cup of tea rather than a fist of explanations. Silence sits with them, but it is no longer a wall. It acts like a soft bench. The body can rest into it. The mind loosens its urgent assumptions. A small conversation grows from tasks instead of declarations. Old habits of care return by degrees. Forgiveness in this scene feels easy. That ease is not because the hurt was shallow. Instead, ease grows from the presence of grace and from the willingness to be small. When pride withdraws its claim to be right, the heart finds very little that must be defended. The scholar of hurt might say that the calculus of forgiveness involves many steps. In this quiet story, the calculation is simpler. A person chooses to place the stone down. Another chooses to stop picking it up. Mercy spreads in those places. There is a gentle lesson here about how God's grace often operates. It often meets human weakness rather than overriding it. Weakness is not a defeat but a clearing. When the hands that have hurt or been hurt loosen, grace finds something to work with. I do not mean to romanticize failure. Real wounds need time. Real apologies may be required. But prayer, soft acts, and the decision to receive help change the shape of nights. The two friends begin to practice small things. A text that says nothing more than a weather note. A visit that brings a loaf of bread. A helping hand in mending a leaky roof. None of these are dramatic. None are proof that everything is finished. They are gestures that pull trust back to its place. Like a string that steadies an unsteady tent, The work of friendship resumes in the language it has always used, daily small mercies. At times, one friend remembers the verse that speaks of strength in weakness. It comes not as doctrine, but as comfort. When the jaw tightens around a remembered offense, the thought returns that grace is near. The person exhales and feels a practical surrender. Surrender here is not resignation to injustice. It is the choice to stop living by the story of anger. That choice opens the night to sleep. I watch these motions, as if from a distance. The lamp at my side feels companionable. The Bible on my lap grows still. The story is not a parable that solves everything. It is a sketch of what mercy looks like in the small hours. Forgiveness is an easy thing when it is allowed to be small. It is practiced like a bread recipe that takes time, gentle touch, and the patience to let dough rise. The result is not always perfect. It is nourishing. There is a moment in the story that matters more than it seems. One of the friends is weak in ways that are not immediately visible. Pride had covered a tender wound with a hard shell. Admitting need is an act of vulnerability that looks like a small candle in the dark. The other friend accepts that candle. No great words are needed. Acceptance is quiet. It is enough to keep the flame from going out. This is where grace shows as effortless rather than forced. It does not berate. It does not require a ledger to be balanced. Grace appears in the willingness to step closer when stepping would be costly. It shows up as practical help. It looks like an extra blanket on a cold night. It reads like a short, steady prayer said without fanfare. May peace rest here. May mercy have space. As the story winds down, a simple habit forms between the two. When a thought of offense comes, it is brought to a small table in the mind. It is set there, examined briefly, and then offered to prayer, like a small parcel. Sometimes the parcel is reopened and tended. Sometimes it is left to be carried away by the current of daily life. Both choices are permitted. The aim is not forced forgetting. The aim is rest. The ending of this small tale is quiet. No final declaration. No neat resolve. The two friends walk again by the river. Steps are not hurried. Conversation is steady and soft. There are pauses where silence is welcome. There is also the simple return of old rituals that do what words sometimes cannot repair by repetition. The house of trust is mended by 1,000 small acts rather than a single grand one. I close the book softly. The lamp continues to glow. The words of that verse about grace linger like a warm cloth across the chest. It reads now like a companion for nights when the mind wants to rehearse hurts. The comfort is practical. It is the knowledge that mercy meets weakness. It is the quiet willingness to receive help rather than to prove a point. If there is a face or memory that presses tonight, try the small practice that these friends learn. Notice the hurt. Name it in a short, calm thought. Breathe toward it. Set it gently aside on an imaginary table. Do a small, kind thing if it is possible. If direct repair would be unsafe or unwise, choose a private act of tenderness instead. A prayer. A brief note of well-being. A loaf of bread left at a door. Mercy often returns in such quiet forms. Lay the head down now. Let the lamp be a promise of small light. Let the breath slow. Remember this story as a gentle guide. Forgiveness is not always loud. It can be simple. It can be easy when grace is near. The hand of God rests not as a judge but as a steady presence in the night. Rest into that thought. The house breathes. The lamp keeps watch. The Bible folds closed with a soft sound. The night holds a space for small mercies. Sleep comes as a slow tide. Let forgiveness be the pillow under the head. Let grace be the quiet blanket that keeps the heart warm. The lamp at my side keeps its steady glow. The Bible rests on the lap. I breathe slowly and let the hush fill the room. This hour is one of watching and of noticing. I read aloud for you, page by page, and I watch how small things land. Tonight, I think about grace that meets us each day. I think about grace that comes not only in grand answers, but also in quiet, unexpected kindnesses. I think about how that kindness feels like a hand placed gently on a weary shoulder. There is a comfort in knowing that grace is not an occasional surprise. It is a daily presence. It does not arrive only in great seasons of relief. It comes in the ordinary hours. It arrives in small gestures that steady the feet. It comes like morning light that shows up whether or not it is noticed. This knowledge softens the chest. It makes rest feel more possible. A story comes to mind. It is simple and slow. It happens on an evening when the world feels heavy and directions feel uncertain. The day has given a few sharp edges, plans that seemed steady tilt. The heart keeps counting losses. The mind rehearses failures like a brittle song. Walking home feels long. The feet are tired. The mind thinks about repairs and bills and the thin list of tasks that seem too many. I am crossing a small square. Rain begins in a fine thread. The umbrella is left behind in a rush. The coat is thin. There is a pocket of cold at the base of the neck. A person passes and does not notice the small struggle. Another bus goes by too full to stop. A passerby drops a paper cup and hurries on. The senses narrow to the immediate wet shoes. A bag that threatens to slip. Breath that comes a little faster. A stranger pauses. The pause is gentle. Without ceremony, the person offers a simple thing, a spare umbrella and a shared stretch under its small canopy. Until the next light, there is no question asked. There is no ledger to balance. The umbrella is given with quiet ease, as if it is what one does without thinking. The small act moves like a hidden current beneath the night. The shelter of that umbrella matters more than the physical dryness. The heart unknots a fraction. The chest finds space. A small conversation follows without drama, only a few directions. A shared smile that is thin and honest. The stranger points toward a nearer bus stop. The route is easy. The walk under the umbrella changes the rhythm of the steps. The person's gait becomes less sharp. The mind loosens its tight grip on the day's list. The next light comes sooner than expected. When the bus arrives, the stranger makes one more small move. They offer an extra coin for the fare. It is a quiet, almost embarrassed gesture. The hand is withdrawn before gratitude can be formalized. Accepting the coin feels odd at first. The pride that builds in small spaces tightens and then softens. The coin buys not only a seat, but also the permission to rest without tallying pride against need. This moment, brief and unremarkable to any passing eye, lands like a soft truth. It looks like how grace works. It uses ordinary hands. It does not strike with thunder. It approaches with a small umbrella and a single coin and a shared path for a few wet steps. The presence behind the kindness is not named by language in that moment. It is felt in the loosening of the jaw and in the way the shoulders drop a fraction. It is felt as relief that does not demand explanation. Days like that one remains small treasures. The memory of the umbrella sits in a corner of the mind like a warm cloth. When a later worry rises, the cloth is placed over it for a minute. The action is practical. It is also spiritual. The kindness of a stranger acts as proof that goodness threads through ordinary people. It shows that mercy has many hands. One need not wait for a miraculous event to be cared for. Care arrives in small, ordinary forms. Grace that supports us daily often works this way. It reaches through human hands and broad shoulders. It steps into traffic where a plan has faltered. It slips a small coin into a palm that had been measuring and worrying. It offers an umbrella when the rain begins to sharpen the edges of the night. If one pays attention, these acts feel like a quiet chorus. Each small kindness sings the same soft refrain, "You are not alone." After that evening, a practice grows without much fanfare. In the nights that follow, before the Bible is opened, a brief gratitude is breathed in the dark. It is not elaborate. A simple thought rises. Thank you for the umbrella. Thank you for the coin. Thank you for the hands that show up. The practice trains a heart to notice small mercies. It creates a habit of looking for grace that does not shout. The habit itself becomes a support in leaner seasons. This noticing does not pretend that suffering is small. It does not deny the depth of real pain. It only points to how help often arrives. Expecting kindness in modest forms makes the heart less brittle. It becomes easier to receive help when it appears. A braced heart resists. A softer heart opens. Over time, that opening changes how nights are held. I read aloud in this hush because these small images settle us. Words on the page give shape to what the hand of a stranger has already shown. Passages about mercy and provision are not distant doctrines. They are the language by which ordinary acts are named. When I read them slowly, they become mirrors of the small events of life. The text echoes the umbrella and the coin. The scripture tone and the human kindness align. There is comfort in this alignment. It unburdens the mind that seeks proof. Proof appears not in an overwhelming sign, but in the steady seam between what the page says and what actually happens on a wet street. Grace is often practical. It brings shelter and travel fare, and a remembered neighbor who checks in. It comes through slow returns to ordinary habits of care. Seeing it like this helps the heart rest. The stranger's kindness also reminds of responsibility. Grace does not remove the call to be kind. The coin and the umbrella teach a small lesson to notice, to move, to offer what one can without parade. It is not a lesson in showy piety. It is a lesson in neighborliness. Hands are available. Eyes are open. Feet move toward need when they are trained to look. The small acts become a quiet discipline. At night I read these truths aloud. The reading is not a rehearsal of guilt. It is a gentle training in eyes that can see mercy. The stories on the page and the stories in the world become one conversation. Each time, a small act of kindness is named. The heart remembers how often grace supports the day. Memory becomes resource. It offers a shelf where gratitude can rest. When anxiety rises, there is also an ease that settles in knowing help, often appears through someone who does not know the whole story. The stranger who offers an umbrella does not demand the right to judge. Mercy that moves through the world tends to be humble. It offers what it can. It does not require that every need be understood before help is given. That humility is part of the comfort. It teaches that help is not a negotiation. It is a gift. Tonight, as the lamp warms the page, consider a small practice for the coming days. Notice one unexpected kindness each day. It can be as ordinary as a door held, a note left, a warm loaf set down, a bus fare quietly offered. Hold the memory of it for a moment. Let it rest on the bedside table of the mind. Each recollection strengthens the sense that grace is near. Each strengthens trust that the day will be met with care. If waking hours are heavy, return to the umbrella image. Picture the cloth spread above two heads. Feel the soft press of protection. Let the breath follow that picture. Inhale steady. Exhale the tightening. The image acts as a small anchor. It points back to the daily work of grace in the world. Before I close the book, a final thought. God's grace supports us in many ways. It moves through weathered hands and hurried strangers. It appears in steady neighbors and in a coin pressed into a palm. It is not only a theological comfort, it is a real thing that lives in small gestures. Expect it. Look for it. Receive it without shame. Let each small kindness be a reminder that you walk with a steady presence. Breathe with me once more. Let the inhale gather memory and the exhale release worry. Hold the image of the umbrella and the extra coin like a small lamp. Keep it near as you drift. The Bible rests. The house breathes. The lamp watches. Grace is at work today and tonight. Sleep into that comfort. Let mercy steady the mind. Let hope fill the chest. Rest now, cradled by small, surprising kindnesses and by the steady presence that they reveal. I set the Bible on my knees and let the page rest in the lamplight. A verse sits softly in my mind about faith as a quiet surety, the confidence of things hoped for, and the conviction of what we cannot yet see. I do not recite the words exactly. I hold their meaning instead. Faith is described there as a firm ground beneath our feet. It is not a loud certainty. It is a steady base that lets the body find peace. Imagine the way a small child trusts a parent in the dark. The child does not measure every risk. The child does not insist on knowing every step. The child feels a hand and closes the eyes. That trust is simple and complete. It is not naive in a careless way. It rests on proven presence, the parent's breathing, the steady arm, the familiar voice. These become the child's whole world for a while. Faith can be like that. It gives permission to sleep. I read another gentle line in the night. It suggests a practice of unburdening. The instruction is direct. Give your anxieties to the one who cares. Take that image as an invitation, not an obligation. Take it as an offer to hand over what is heavy. The one who cares does not wait for a perfect explanation. Care arrives before the story is finished. A short practice helps. Do it with me now, slowly and without hurry. Find a comfortable place under the lamp. Keep the body still enough to notice the breath. Inhale softly. Exhale long. Let each breath be a small unwrapping of tension. First, notice one worry that has the most weight tonight. Do not try to list everything. Choose the smallest heavy thing that will let you begin. Name it with one gentle word in the mind. The naming is brief. The point is to make the worry into a shape that can be held. Next, imagine a pair of hands waiting. Picture them not as distant, but close, warm and steady, like a pair of hands that have soothed a fever or tied a shoelace. In the mind, bring the worry to those hands. See the hands take it. Do not insist on how the hands do it. Simply imagine the transfer. Feel the weight lessen. Breathe into the place where the worry sat. Send the next inhale to that spot, as if delivering a small, cool cloth. On the exhale, watch the shape change. If the mind doubts whether this helps, allow the imagination room to be tender and plain. The body responds to gentle images. The nervous system learns new patterns when given soft rehearsals. Now say a short phrase to anchor the motion. Use a sentence that is not elaborate. Something like, I give this to care, or I trust for this night. Let the words be few. Let their tone be quiet. Repeat them slowly and without hurry. No performance is required. The phrase serves only as a pebble to keep the mind from wandering back into lists. If a child image helps, hold it. Picture a child curled in sleep. The child's small fist relaxes in the parent's palm. The parent does not count every breath. The parent watches and guards. The child rests because someone steady is near. Allow that simplicity to be the frame for your own rest. You do not need to play the part of the watchman tonight. Rest is permitted. Some cares are stubborn. They resist being set down on the first try. If a thought returns, do not admonish it. Notice it with kindness. Name it again. Breathe toward it. Imagine the hands taking it a second time. Each small release is practice. Each repetition eases muscle memory. The heart learns permission through gentle repetition, not harsh commands. There are practical steps to accompany this inner gesture. If one worry can be settled by a small action, consider giving it an edge of clarity before sleep. A short note to be sent in the morning, a single line on a list, a tiny plan that needs no immediate motion. These small acts do not finish the whole story. They transform a repeating fear into something contained and manageable. Trust and action live together. To hand a worry over does not abolish responsibility. It simply moves it from the center of the night to a place where clearer thinking can take it up by day. Let the night be for rest. Let the morning be for steps. This rhythm honors both patience and prudence. There is mercy in that arrangement. Mercy does not demand flawless trust. It welcomes a weary heart that cannot bear everything alone. The invitation is patient. The invitation stays. When the night is long, it does not punish for returning thoughts. It stays steady like a harbor light that continues whether the sea is calm or rough. Hold a small image, then a harbor at dusk. Boats lie quiet against their moorings. A light from the shore touches each hull, enough to guide, but not to blaze. Anxiety can be like a boat beating against its line. The harbor provides a place to rest and to be tended. You are the one who ties the little line and then allows hands ashore to steady the rest. That steadiness is the work of care. This practice is gentle on the body too. If the jaw holds tight, let the lips part slightly. If the shoulders ride high, drop them an inch. Small changes send signals to the nervous system that say it is safe to soften. The body learns new language through these whispers. The breath follows the muscles. When the body unwinds, the mind often follows. Forgiveness of self is part of this handing over. Guilt takes extra space in the night. It wants to replay mistakes until the muscles ache. Offer it to the same hands. Forgiveness here is not a grand absolution. It is a small allowance tonight. Let this be small. Let the mistakes be remembered without being the whole story. The breath can hold that kindness. If sorrow feels heavy and layered, permit the slow work of grief. Do not expect a lightness that is not yet true. Grief needs room. The handing over in such times is not about erasing pain. It is about not carrying the pain alone. It is about allowing another presence to hold part of the load. That is restable work. When sleep is slow to come, turn attention to a small, steady image. A tiny lamp in the window. A warm cup in a cool hand. The image should be simple. Let it be the place the mind returns to between thoughts. Use the short anchor phrase again. Keep the words soft and calm. Repeat only as needed. Breathing slows naturally with this practice. Do not force it. Let the inhale come a fraction deeper than usual. Let the exhale lengthen a little. Long exhalations signal to the body that the immediate work of survival is over. The muscles begin to ask for rest. The heartbeat finds a slower measure. Hold to the lamp. The hands. The harbor. The child's trust. Sometimes a practical reminder helps. Before the eyes fully close, take a small, literal step. Place a glass of water near the bed. Set out one note for tomorrow, if that one worry needs some action. A tiny external gesture can quiet an internal loop. It gives the mind permission to release what it has been replaying. Listen now as the room breathes. The lamp throws a calm circle on the page. The Bible lies open like a quiet companion. The words of faith read earlier act as a foundation. Faith is not a proof against every difficulty. It is a steadying ground that allows the heart to move toward sleep. It is like a parent's presence that makes rest possible. If tears come, let them. They are part of the unloading. They wash the eyes and ease the face. If a smile comes, welcome it. Joy and relief can arrive in small measures in the middle of the night. Both are signs that the practice of handing over has small effects. I close the page slowly in a moment. The closing is a soft hinge. It does not pretend all is finished. It leaves a deliberate space where rest can begin. Keep the small practice ready. Name one worry if it returns. Picture the hands. Breathe toward the place that feels tight. Use the short phrase as a pebble of steadiness. Do a tiny practical step in the morning when clarity returns. Rest is not a reward for perfection. It is a gift offered regardless. The invitation to hand over cares is quiet. It returns night after night. It does not demand a dramatic conversion. It asks only for a slow willingness to learn a new habit. Now breathe with me once more. Inhale steady. Feel the ribs lift. Exhale long and soft. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw loosen. Picture the small hands taking what must be taken. Feel the weight. Leave the chest a little. The lamp keeps its gentle watch. The Bible rests folded for a while. The house breathes with the same slow rhythm. Permit sleep to come when it will. Trust that the small practice of handing over can be repeated tomorrow. For now, let faith be the foundation beneath your feet. Like a parent's steady presence at the bedside, rest into that care. The night holds you. The hands stay near. The heart can be free from burdens. If even for this quiet hour, the lamp is low and the page lies open, I sit with the Bible across my knees and a steady warmth in the room. Tonight, I turn toward a short instruction that asks for a particular kind of practice. It invites the anxious mind to speak plainly. It invites hands to bring needs and thanks together. The promise that follows speaks of a peace that stands guard. I do not recite the words exactly. I let their sense settle. Instead, bring the heart's needs in an attitude of thanksgiving. And a peace will keep the mind. Prayer is simple here. It is not a long speech. It is not a test of memory or eloquence. It is a small act done before sleep. It is like closing a book. It is like putting a cup on a bedside table. The form matters less than the motion. The motion is an offering. A thought is lifted and placed. That is enough. Begin with a single breath. The breath is a door. Let it open slowly and close without hurry. With the next inhale, imagine gathering one thing that troubles the night. Choose a single weight. Name it in the mind with a quiet phrase. Keep it small and clear. Do not try to name every fear. One thing at a time can be handed over more easily than 20. Place that named worry into a simple image. Imagine a small basket by the bedside. Fold the worry into cloth and lay it in the basket. Do not examine it. Do not justify it. Let it be what it is for the moment: heavy, real, human. Set it down. Feel how the fingers relax a little when the load leaves the hands. The gesture is a kind of prayer. Now bring thanksgiving. This part is gentle. Give thanks for one thing that is true tonight. It can be as small as a shared meal remembered, as ordinary as a roof over the head, as quiet as a breath that slowed. Gratitude is not a denial of difficulty. It is a small lamp that shows where mercy has already touched the day. When gratitude is paired with request, the heart shifts. The chest can open in a different way. Make the request brief. Ask for help for the named thing. Speak in a short sentence inside the mind. There is no need for ornate language. A simple asking is a fitting shape for the evening. If words feel thin, use a single name or a short phrase. The brevity keeps the heart from rehearsing hurt. It gives the will something gentle to do. Then listen. Prayer is not only telling, it is also a quiet receiving. Close the eyes, if that helps. Let the room's hush be a kind of answer. Presence sometimes arrives as a soft attention, rather than a dramatic voice. Feel that attention like a hand that rests without pressure. It steadies rather than solves. Listen for the small stillness that follows an honest offering. A small practice can help the mind make this movement habit. Keep a tiny notebook by the lamp. Before sleep, write one worry and one thanks on the page. Fold the paper and place it inside the Bible or under the pillow. This physical act makes the prayer concrete. It becomes something the hands can do when the thoughts begin to race. It is a way to say this is given for tonight. The morning can be for steps. The night is for rest. Prayer also has a form of praise that is gentle and brief. Praise need not be lofty. It can be a whispered noticing of goodness seen that day. Name it in an inward voice. Say a soft thank you for the breath, for a warm cup, for a kind face. Praise changes the tone of the mind. It shifts attention away from the catalogue of fears and toward what has already been given. When worry returns, practice a short anchor phrase. Use a sentence, no longer than a small pebble, something like, be with this, keep this, hold this. The phrase does not have to be theologically precise. It only needs to be steady. Repeat it slowly with the breathing. Each repetition is a small knot of calm tied in the mind. Imagine the promised peace as a quiet guard. The picture is calm rather than martial. Think of a gentle sentry who watches the heart without alarm. That sentry's job is not to remove every problem. It is to keep the space around the mind quiet enough for rest. Picture a still pool with a low wall around it. That wall does not stop storms from coming. It simply keeps the pool from being roiled through every gust. Prayer helps make that wall. Each offering, each thanked thing, each brief request lays a stone. Over time, the stones form a boundary where anxious loops find less purchase. The practice is patient. It does not promise instant disappearance of fear. It promises steadiness for the night. There is comfort in small rituals. One person's evening practice might be spoken prayer. Another might fold the hands and breathe. Another might keep a small candle lit for a moment and say a soft sentence of trust. The shape is not as important as the repeatable nature of the act. Ritual trains the body and the mind to move toward peace. Habit becomes a kindly guide. A quiet way to pray is to use the body's rhythm as partner. Match a slow inhale to a short phrase of thanks. Match a softer exhale to a brief request. Let the breath carry the words like a little boat. Do this several times. The coupling of breath and petition keeps the mind from rushing. It grounds the plea in the body's natural tempo. Prayer for others is a form of rest as well. Naming another face before sleep softens the grip of self-concern. Offer a neighbor's need, a friend's frailty, an unseen worker's tiredness. These small acts widen the heart's view. Compassion and rest travel together when a space is opened for both. When guilt or a harsh self-judgment presses at night, prayer can be a balm. Do not pretend the wrongness did not happen. Name the fault in a single clear phrase. Ask for the grace that covers, not as a quick excuse, but as help to learn and to mend. Extend the same mercy inward as is often given outward. The night is too short and the body too weary to carry punitive loops. Let prayer be a place where mistakes can be offered and learning can begin. Silence is part of prayer. After the short spoken phrases and the small acts, allow 10 breath lengths of quiet. Do not rush to fill the space. The silence is an answer in itself. The mind often wants to interpret or to make meaning. Let a few breaths simply be. The hush helps the heart notice the steadiness that already surrounds it. If sleep resists, return to the physical act of placing notes in the Bible. Tuck the folded page between lines that give comfort. Let the action be a promise to the self. This is handed over for now. The morning can reopen the parcel with clearer eyes. Night's job is not to finish everything. It is to restore the body's capacity to think kindly in the morning. Prayers can be as short as a child's, a name, a need, a thanks. That economy of speech is not a lack, it is an honesty. The smallness fits the night's tenderness. Practice that for an evening, and notice the difference. The mind needs permission to stay small sometimes. Prayer offers that permission. There is one more simple practice I use when voices in the head are loud. Record a tiny prayer on a device or on a paper and play or read it back in a calm tone. Hearing the voice of request and thanks spoken gently can change the ear's posture. The recorded prayer becomes a companion that steadies the heart when the night's wind picks up. Prayer also opens space for dreams that heal. It does not always feel like immediate change. Sometimes the effect is slow and soft. A phrase placed at bedtime can reappear in sleep as imagery that eases a wound. The work continues beneath the threshold of consciousness. Trust that small offerings often grow greatest in hidden ways. As I read the passage tonight, I feel the invitation to make room. The promise that peace will guard the heart and the mind is not a statement about anxiety's disappearance. It is a promise that rest can be kept while life's cares remain. Practice the short steps. Name one worry. Give one thanks. Make one brief request. Listen in silence. Repeat the breath. Place a note if that helps. Use a short anchor phrase when the mind runs. I fold a page of paper and set it inside the Bible. As a small example, the paper holds a brief written prayer, one sentence of asking and one of thanks. I tuck it where the finger rests. The action feels like putting a candle near a window. It is modest. It is honest. It says that tonight some things are given over so sleep can come. Before I close the book, a reminder prayer is both surrender and attention. It is the letting go of the burden and the watching for mercy. The promise in the passage watched earlier holds this dual motion. Peace is given as a guard. The guard's presence does not erase the night's calls. It makes them less able to command the whole hour. Tonight, choose one small prayer. Keep it short. Let it ride on the breath. Place it like a coin in the palm, or like a folded note in the Bible. Offer one line of thanks along with the request. Listen in the hush. Trust the quiet sentry of peace to stand near the heart. I close the page softly. The lamp leans into the room with its steady light. The little paper remains tucked between lines. This small practice will be here again tomorrow if needed. For now, let prayer be the hand that steadies. Let sleep come as a gentle answer. The house breathes slowly. The Bible rests. The heart can rest too, kept by a peace that watches through the night. The lamp breathes its small light across the page. The Bible sits open on my knees. I keep my voice low and even. The room is a soft bowl of sound. Outside, night moves like a slow tide. A short passage waits tonight. It speaks of plans, not plans made in a rush, not plans that leave people to fend for themselves. The passage suggests a careful intention toward our days. It says that the future is not a blind alley. It gives room for hope. Listen with me. Hear the sense more than the line. The text tells us that God has purposes for our lives. These purposes lean toward good rather than harm. They hold a future that is not empty. They carry a quiet hope. Take that as a tender promise, not a performance to achieve. Breathe once with me. Inhale, slow. Hold a soft beat. Let the exhale lengthen. Allow the ribs to lower. Feel the body thank you by easing a little. When worry presses, it often imagines only now and only sharp edges. It tells a small story tomorrow will be worse. There is no path out. The passage speaks differently. It offers a world where a hand guides a path beyond the night. That image is not dramatic. It is steady. It does not shout. It simply steadies the next step. Picture a map that is drawn by a careful cartographer. The map does not erase rugged ground. It names it. It shows streams and hills. It marks safe passages and tiny ports. The promise in the text is like that map. It does not pretend away difficulty. It shows a route that leads toward a place where breathing is easier and the heart can rest. There is mercy embedded in such a map. Mercy is not the removal of every problem. Mercy is the provision of care along the way. Imagine small rest stops. Imagine someone who tends the trail. Think of a gardener who plants seeds where a weary traveler can sit in shade. The seeds do not change the weather. They change the walk. Hold that gardener image. See tender hands placing a small seed. The seed takes time. The sprout is slow. The work happens in quiet. A promise that includes growth over time is easier to sleep with than a promise that demands immediate triumph. Now, try a small practice with me. Choose a short line that points to the idea of trust. It need not be long. Keep it simple. God plans good. Or there is a future. Hold that line gently in the mind. Let it be a pebble that you can lay in the palm of thought. With the next breath, imagine placing that pebble on a shelf in your chest. The pebble does not have to be polished. It simply rests there. It is a small marker that says some care has already been promised. Each time a fear returns, look toward the pebble on the shelf. Let its weight be steadying rather than burdening. Trust is not a sudden flip. It grows by practice. Small repetitions change the heart's muscle. A single night of trusting does not erase a long history of fear, but a single night can be the first step. A single repeated breath can anchor a new posture. Think of a potter shaping clay. The potter does not make a perfect vessel at once. The wheel turns. Hands guide slowly. There are corrections and soft squeezes. God's plans often shape life in that patient way. The shaping is kind, not harsh. It forms a bowl that can hold water. That is a plain and useful image for rest. If you keep awake over worries about what tomorrow might bring, try a small ritual. Take a sheet of paper beside the lamp. On it, write one small thing you fear about the coming days. Then on the same paper write one hope. However modest, fold it once. Tuck it into the Bible where your finger rests. The folded paper is a kind of offering. It does not solve the future. It places a small burden in a space of faith. This action matters because the body likes to do things. The hands help the mind. A deliberate movement, a pen. A fold. A tuck signals to the nervous system that something is being cared for. It speaks in a language the body understands. When you place the paper inside the book, pause. Offer a quiet phrase to yourself. Use a line as spare as a pebble. Perhaps, for this night I hand this over. Or, for this hour, keep this. Let the words be soft and brief. Say them in the mind. Let them be a hinge between worry and sleep. The promise of a hopeful future includes a kindness that many fears forget time. Time is not always an enemy. Time can be a steady healer. It lets seeds take root. It lets skill grow. It allows friends to return. When a future is promised, it often unfolds slowly. That slowness is not a lack of care. It is the patient way tenderness builds. Imagine a slow sunrise. It does not snap on all light at once. It uncovers the landscape bit by bit. First the edges, then the hills, then the full brightness. Trust can be like that sunrise. Expect light in stages rather than all at once. This expectation softens the night. Faith in God's plans is also a communal thing. It is not merely a private hope. It ties with other hands that walk beside. Think of a small village where each house tends a shared well. Plans that are for good often arrive through other people. A neighbor brings bread. A friend offers a map when you feel lost. A hand steadies the shoulder. Notice how help often shows up in such ordinary forms. Do not be surprised if trust feels fragile at first. That is natural. Fragility does not disqualify you. It simply marks the place where tenderness can enter. Allow the small, steady things to matter. A call from a friend. A prayer that feels real. A meal. A warm sweater. These are not grand miracles. They are the daily stitches of a larger promise. If a memory of past hurts makes trust hard, treat that memory with gentle care. Bring it near, but do not let it decide the whole night. A practical step helps. Write the hurt on a separate sheet and fold it away from the one with the hope. Keep them both inside the book. This separation is not denial. It is a way to hold truth without letting every old thing crowd the future's space. When the mind returns to the thought of uncertain tomorrows, return to the lamp beside the bed. Let the soft light be a small proof that some things are steady. Let the Bible on the lap be a companion, rather than an argument. The book's pages are not a strict timetable. They are an invitation to rest in a presence that keeps faith with those who listen. A simple prayer may help now. Keep it short. Offer one sentence of trust. Say, inwardly, I trust your care for tomorrow. Repeat it with a gentle breath, not in a rush. Do this 3 times. Let each repetition be like a small footstep across a wooden floor. The steps are quiet, but they move forward. If tears come, let them. They wash the eyes and ease the face. They are part of the night's unburdening. If laughter comes instead, welcome. The 2, joy and grief, can be neighbors in a single evening. Both are signs of life. Both are received in the arms of mercy. There may be seasons when plans look blurred, or when the map seems torn. Those times ask for patience. They ask for a posture of waiting that is active and steady. Waiting is not empty. It is a listening that keeps watch. It tends the small things. It collects the little resources that will be needed for the next steps. To end this hour's reading, I offer one more small practice. Take the pebble you imagined earlier. Hold it again in the mind. Name one tiny hope for tomorrow. It can be as simple as a clear cup of water, a friendly voice, a quiet hour to think. Place that hope beside the pebble on the shelf in the chest. Breathe toward it. Let the breath be the promise that night keeps its duties. I close the book slowly now. The closing is soft. The spine makes a gentle sound. The lamp continues to glow. The folded papers rest inside the pages. The map and the seed and the pebble sit in the heart like small anchors. Rest is not the absence of plans. It is the trust that the plans that hold us are gentle and good. They may not remove every thorn. They promise a future that carries hope and room to breathe. Let that promise be the small lamp you take into sleep tonight. Before we part for this section, breathe with me once more. Inhale slow and full. Hold a quiet beat. Exhale long and easy. Feel the shoulders drop a fraction. Let the chest soften. Keep the image of the gardener, the map, the potter, and the pebble close. Return to them. If worry comes, they are patient. They return nightly if you need them. When the next passage is ready, the page will open again. For now, let the night guard the rest that trust invites. The lamp watches, the Bible waits. The promise of a hopeful plan keeps its quiet vigil. Sleep when it comes. Let the hope gathered this hour be enough until morning. Sure, God's unfailing love. Reference Lamentations 3:2-23. The Bible lies open on my lap. A quiet line rests there about love that does not end. I read it slowly in my mind before I say anything aloud. The words feel like the softest coat. They do not press. They simply comfort. I speak now with a low voice. I let the meaning shape itself into simple pictures. Love that never ceases is not a loud promise. It is a steady presence at the edge of every small day. Mercy that rises new each morning is like dew on the grass. It appears again even when the night seems long. Take a breath with me. Inhale slow. Hold a tiny beat. Exhale long. Let the chest soften. This breath is the first small way to meet the idea. Presence is easier to receive when the body agrees to rest. Imagine the night sky. Stars are few and steady. The dark is wide. But the air feels sure. The love the verses point to is like those stars. It does not vanish when clouds pass. The stars are still there. The heart can trust that steadiness, even when sight is poor. Mercy arrives in the small things. A cup of tea placed without fuss. A hand that reaches in the dark. A neighbor's quiet check-in. These are not grand signs. They are daily proof. The Bible points to mercy that begins again each day. Notice how many mercies already threaded through this day. Let them be counted silently. Let them warm a part of the chest. I do not promise the night will be easy. Nights sometimes hold long shadows. They bring fears that are loud and clever. The passage, however, places a care beside the fear. It does not remove the problem. It steadies the heart enough to continue. That steadiness is a practical grace, not an argument. Try a small image now. Picture a battered door. It creaks, but it holds. On the other side of the door is a lamp. The lamp is not flashy. It is enough light for one room. Mercy sits under that lamp like a warm cloth over cold shoulders. It does not fix everything beyond the house. It simply comforts the person inside. When worry rises, name it briefly. A single word will do fear. Say it mentally, not as an accusation, but as an observation. Then picture the lamp again. See the light fall across the worry like a slow hand. The worry remains, but its edges soften. The breath follows, that softening. The body responds. Sometimes mercy looks like forgiveness, offered to the self. The mind can be harsh and tireless. It replays errors until the body frays. The passage invites a gentleness toward the one who makes mistakes. Hold the image of a small mirror that shows not only fault, but also the face that tries again. Let that face be treated kindly tonight. Compassion also shows us patience. The love that never ends is patient with the slow returning of hope. It does not demand an immediate brightening. It waits in the same place each morning to pour out a fresh kindness. Think of a simple well, where water is drawn each day. The well does not close because one visit is missed. The water remains. Draw from it when ready. If sleep comes easily, then rest now. These words are not a test. They are a soft invitation. If wakefulness remains, use the images. Count small mercies like quiet stones laid on a shelf. Each stone is a moment of care that can be held in memory. The accumulation steadies the thought. There is also an honest room for sorrow here. The passage does not deny pain. It acknowledges that hardship is real. Mercy's presence does not cancel sorrow's weight. Instead, it changes how sorrow sits on the heart. Pain becomes something that can be borne with company, not a burden carried alone. A practical step helps when sorrow feels large. Place the hand over the chest. Breathe into that place as if the air were a soft cloth. Imagine mercy as cool water poured slowly across tense places. Let the body accept the small refreshment. The motion is not magical. It is a gentle rehearsal of trust. Sometimes the night brings memories that sting. Those images can feel like small, repeated injuries. The promise of unfailing love asks simply that those memories be met with a kind presence beside them. Picture a companion who does not dispute the memory. The companion sits and holds a steady light. This is mercy in its humblest form, faithful presence. When anger wants to be the loudest voice, choose a single act of kindness. Instead, send a short, thankful thought into the dark. No long explanations. A plain thank you for one true thing from the day. This practice trains the heart to notice where mercy is already at work. Even in tiny corners, faithfulness is part of the promise. Great faithfulness is not a performance. It is the simple habit of keeping care in a place where the weary can find it. Imagine a path with markers at regular intervals. Each marker reminds the traveler that the way is tended. The markers do not remove every obstacle. They reassure the traveler that someone has walked here before and will continue to tend the way. If the mind wants proof, look to the smallest histories of help. A friend who stayed overnight once, a meal that arrived when hands were weak, a child who held a hand without judgment. These facts are small pieces of proof that mercy moves through ordinary lives. They are the daily evidence that love continues. Allow a short silence. Now, let the words sit like the last light of day. Let the breath slow. The room listens. In that silence, mercy often feels nearest. It is not empty. It is full of leaning and of steady attention. Hope in Christ here is not a loud doctrine. It is a calm assurance that presence and mercy will continue. Like sunrise returning quietly. If hope feels thin, let it be small and patient. A thin hope is still hope. Tend it like a seed in a jar. Water with small acts of trust, a short prayer, a simple forgiveness, a meal taken slowly. There may be nights when doubt returns louder than comfort. That is expected. Mercy does not abandon the doubting. Instead, it meets doubt with steady care. Picture a soft hand that touches the forehead of a fevered child. The touch does not explain. It reassures. It is enough for the child to relax into sleep for a while. The same is true here. If rest is elusive, try a brief exercise. Name 3 mercies from the day. Keep them as small as needed a warm cup, a kind word, a small task completed. Say them slowly in the mind. Let each sink like a pebble into a still pool. Watch the ripples fade. The mind quiets. I read the verse again in a private way. The line about love that does not end, and mercies made new each morning, rests like an old promise. It is not an abstract notion. It is a practical companion for weary evenings. Let it be a small guide for the coming dawn. Before I close the page, a short invitation. If a face or a need presses tonight, lift it in a single, soft sentence of prayer. No need for perfection. A simple phrase is enough help. This, hold this. Be near. Place that sentence into the lamp's light and let it rest there. Trust that mercy hears and keeps company. The book closes with care. The sound is gentle. The lamp continues to glow. The house breathes in a low, steady rhythm. God's unfailing love is like the room's steady warmth. It does not vanish when a window is left open. It remains until the morning promise arrives again. Rest now. Let the body yield to the mattress. Let the breath find a softer pace. Keep the image of small mercies folded close like a handkerchief in a pocket. Carry that comfort to sleep. Mercy meets weakness with quiet hands. Love does not end. It is new with each morning. Sleep, and let that promise watch over the hours until dawn. Shi. The lamp stays low. The Bible rests on my knees. I let the room breathe around us. Tonight, a single line from Philippians keeps returning to me. It invites the mind to dwell on what is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and admirable. The list is short. The practice it suggests is simple. It asks the heart to turn toward what calms rather than what alarms. I ask you to imagine a place with me, not a dramatic landscape, not a stage set. A small field at evening will do. A narrow path cuts through soft grass. The air smells faintly of green things and damp earth. The light is the kind that rests on edges, the slow kind that makes colors patient. Walk slowly there with me. There is no hurry. The feet know the rhythm of the path before the mind does. Feet meet soft ground. The grasses bend without complaint. A small stream runs somewhere near. Heard more than seen. The sound is constant and gentle. It hints at motion without demand. When the mind wants to tighten, the stream's voice reminds it that movement need not be frantic. Water flows around the hard edges. It finds a way that is patient and true. Pause by the stream. Notice how the surface catches the light. It reflects a sky that is not the sky's whole weight. The reflection is a soft copy, a translation of the light into movement. The thought comes easily. Creation mirrors a steadiness. The peace we seek often arrives as mirror rather than message. The world around us repeats a quiet pattern order. Beauty. A simple return of day to night. This repetition is itself a kind of mercy. The tall grass at the field's edge moves in a slow conversation with the breeze. Each blade is a small witness. None boast. None rush to be noticed. They turn together and then apart, like people in a quiet room who know how to listen. That listening is part of the purity the verse names. Purity is not perfection. It is the lack of sharp claim. It is the way the grass gives space for the breeze without resistance. Above, a single heron crosses the light. Its flight is not showy. It knows the path between bank and sky. Watching that measured wing beat eases a chest that has been tight from worry. The bird's motion is a small lesson in economy. It expends energy only where needed. The heart responds to that economy. Breathing becomes easier. The shoulders drop a fraction. I pick up a smooth stone near the stream. The stone feels cool. It has been shaped by many small collisions with water and other stones. Its edges are gentle now. The long work of smoothing seems like an image for grace. A life need not be polished by spectacle. Small, steady encounters change shape. This slow shaping is like God's patience present over time. gentle and persistent. The sky above shifts from pale blue to a quiet, bruised purple. Light and dark mix on the horizon. The clouds are not empty. They hold color and the promise of rain later. Or maybe not. The mind likes to name the clouds as threats or promises. In this field, clouds are simply weather that moves. They remind the heart that mood passes too. Nothing we feel must be permanent. Even heavy feelings are part of a larger sky that changes. A line of trees marks the far side of the meadow. From their roots come a low chorus of leaves. Each leaf opens and closes with the air. The chorus is not tidy. It is a living, imperfect song. Its imperfection is part of its honesty. Perfection would have no movement. The trees teach a steadier lesson. Peace and purity are found in life that breathes. Quiet motion, not stillness, is the sign of health. As I walk, the path takes me to a small hill. From there, the field looks like a quilt of soft colors. The town lies distant. Its noises a muted seam. Up here, the heart can set down a heavy thought. The height does not remove the problem. It does place it on a ledge for a while. Distance gives perspective. It is not the same as solution. It is close enough to see the pattern, far enough to stop being consumed. Nature offers small particulars to hold. A moth settles on the stone. Its wings are patterned in a way that makes the chest unscarcely attentive. The pattern is not designed to be inspected too long. It is a brief grace. Let such small sights be places to rest the eyes and the mind. Do not try to collect them all. One will do. I remember the verse again. Think about what is lovely. The field teaches that loveliness is not flashy. It is quiet. It is often modest. A little thing due on a blade. The curve of a feather. The way a child's laugh tilts can redirect the mind. Train the eye tonight to notice one small lovely thing. Keep it as an image to carry into sleep. Breathe with me as I stand on the hill. Inhale the cool air. Let it move into the belly. Exhale without force. Match the rhythm to the stream's steady sound. Each breath is a small sacrament. It is a wordless prayer. The body remembers how to be calm when given safe images and a slow cadence. The peace that shows in nature often feels pure because it is unpretending. Purity in creation looks like clarity, not sterility. A clear pond reflects the sky without claiming to be the sky. The reflection is content to be a faithful echo. So it is with a calm heart. It does not need to be loud to be true. It simply reflects what is steadier than itself. As the light thins, fireflies begin to appear. They are small, hesitant, then more sure. Each is a point of attention. They do not demand the night's focus. They ask for a glance and then move on. Their brief lights teach the mind that small joys repeat. Expect small lights to show up. Do not wait only for something vast. The mind learns to trust tenderness through these little lamps. Walking back along the path, I notice the smell of crushed sage. The scent is not overpowering. It sits in the air like a soft hand. Smells are often better teachers than words. They fold memory and present comfort. Let a remembered odor be a doorway. Think of one scent that was kind to you today. Hold it like a small talisman. Use it when the night's other sounds grow large. One practice helps anchor these natural images. Choose one line from the list in Philippians. Keep it short. Make it a pebble of thought, perhaps the word lovely or pure or admirable. Whisper it in the mind as the breath moves. Pair the word with a single image from the walk. Say to yourself, lovely firefly, pure, clear pond, noble heron's flight. The pairing makes the mind less prone to scatter. It gives a gentle task return to a single, good image when worry arrives. Nature also models rest. The field cycles. Night comes, and then morning. Seed and bloom and sleep. The rhythm is forgiving. Creation does not chase shame for failing to bloom sooner. It simply observes the seasons and continues. That steady acceptance can shape the way the heart treats mistakes. Forgiveness grows where cycles are honored rather than feared. If the mind will not quiet, use the walk as a guided practice. Start at the path's beginning in the mind. Hear the stream. See the heron. Touch the stone. Smell the sage. Let each moment be no longer than one breath. Move step by step. The steady movement trains the nervous system to follow and not to race. Slow the pace to match a field at dusk. There is also a humility in nature that comforts. Each living thing depends on another. The grass needs soil. The soil holds earthworms. Birds rely on the field. The interdependence is not a system of judgment. It is a network of care. The pattern encourages a thought need is not shameful. To be held is natural. To receive help is as ordinary as rain, as darkness settles. A thin hush covers the meadow. Night sounds grow nearer. An owl calls once, and then the hush deepens again. The call is not loud. It is measured. Even the night has a melody that is patient. If the heart resists sleep, listen for that measured call. Let it be a metronome. Let it remind the mind of a larger order that continues while we rest. Before I close the image, hold one more scene. The sky clears slightly, and a single bright star appears. It is not the brightest, but it is steady. The star does not compete with everything else. It keeps its place. The verse invites attention to such steady things true, noble, pure, lovely, admirable. The star embodies these qualities softly. Keep it in the chest as a small proof that constancy exists. Now return gently to the room. The lamp is still there. The Bible is a neighbor on the lap. The walk in the field becomes a memory you can visit. Carry one chosen image into the pillow. Let it be the last picture before sleep. Repeat the short practice. Name the word. See the scene. Breathe once more and rest. The reading of Philippians is not a demand to ignore pain. It is an invitation to rehouse attention. The mind is a small room. Choose what furniture to place there tonight. Let it be images that reflect peace and purity. Let them be simple, steady, and true. I place my finger on the page and close this part of the hour with a small benediction in my mind. May the calm of the field rest on the chest. May the steady light of the star keep watch. May the breath find the stream's rhythm. Sleep if it comes. Rest if it does not. Both are welcome. When the next passage opens, we will sit again with another small image. For now, keep the thought of the lovely, the pure, and the true near. Let it be a warm cloth over worry for tonight. The room breathes, the lamp watches, the Bible rests, the walk stays with us, quiet and soft, a reflection of the peace that will not leave. Sha'ah, the promise of divine protection. The lamp keeps its small pool of light. The Bible rests open on my knees. I breathe with the room and let the quiet settle like a soft cloth. Tonight I rest my finger on a line that speaks of shelter. The image that follows is simple and strong. It is a blanket drawn gently over the shoulders of someone who is tired. Picture that blanket with me. It is plain and warm. Its fabric is not flashy. It is heavy enough to hold warmth and light enough to fold away. When it comes down over the shoulders, muscles enclosent, the jaw loosens. The pulse eases. The blanket does not solve every problem. It does something quieter. It keeps the chill out for a while. It gives permission to relax. I imagine the blanket woven from many small acts of care. The threads are kindnesses that came without notice. A neighbor's quiet help, a friend's steady voice, a meal left on a doorstep. These tiny stitches form a cloth that can be drawn around the shoulders. Think of mercy and of the promise that protection is near. It is not a sudden, loud rescue. It is a slow covering. Warmth accumulates, stitch by stitch. The text I read points to a shelter that is like wings spread wide. Wings are not only for flight. They are for sheltering. They hang over a nest. They cover what is small and vulnerable. Imagine these wings like a blanket laid across your chest. The shelter feels close. It is not distant. It meets the places where cold tends to gather. Place your hands near the heart and feel how the idea of cover loosens a tight place there. Safety in the night looks like a steady hand at the back of the neck. It feels like someone who watches without panic. The presence near the bedside is quiet and sure. The eyes that watch do not record failures as final. They see the whole life and keep a gentle care. This gentleness changes the way the night holds its thoughts. Fear still comes. Fear still speaks. The hand and the blanket do not make fear vanish. They simply make it less able to command the whole hour. If the mind turns to storms, do not be surprised. Rain sometimes comes. The promise of protection is not a guarantee against wind. It is a promise of shelter in the storm. A blanket in the storm remains useful. It does not stop rain from falling elsewhere. It changes the body's relation to the weather. The chest stays steadier. The breath finds a slower cadence. Find consolation in the small practical comforts, a roof above, a neighbor who knocks softly, a teacup warmed by the stove. These are the ways care shows when skies darken. The image of feathers is helpful. Feathers layered together keep a bird from freezing. Each feather is small. None are proud. Yet together they make a warmth that survives long nights. The promise of protection in the text acts like that. Many small mercies gather. They do not boast. They quietly hold. If a worry returns repeatedly, Imagine tucking another feather in the blanket. Simple memories of care become part of the weave. Let each memory feel like a thread placed by a caring hand. If danger feels near in the mind, name it lightly. A small naming removes the sharpened urgency. Say to yourself, quietly, this is fear. Breathe. Let the blanket image come down again. Picture the feet under the cover, the head on a soft pillow. There is no need to argue with every loud thought. The shelter does not require defense strategies. It calls for rest inside the warmth that kindness has made possible. Some nights call for a more active image of protection. Think of a small lantern at the window. The lantern does not blind the dark away. It marks a place where someone watches. The light is enough to show the next step to a friend, finding the path. Protection often arrives as guidance, one small light at a time. If the path seems unclear, look for that lamp. Follow its circle. One careful step at a time is all that is needed now. There is a tenderness in the idea of being covered. It does not humiliate. Covering can be a high honor. It is the way a parent tucks a child in at night. The act of tucking acknowledges fatigue and need. It confesses love without words. Let that tenderness be your memory for tonight. Let the act of being covered be a recognized gift, rather than a shameful expose. Practical gestures help this image to land. Draw a blanket up to the chin. Place a hand on the blanket for a moment and feel the weight. Shift the shoulders down a little. If the hands are cold, rub them together softly until warmth comes. These small movements help the nervous system accept the metaphor as reality. The body reads the motion as permission to relax. Protection in prayer often feels like a promise whispered. The promise is simple. You are watched over. It is not a boast of invincibility. It is a quiet assurance of accompaniment. The words in the Bible do not demand that every wound be erased. They promise a steady presence, one that attends through nights of worry. Lean into that attendance. It is a practical strength for a long evening. If memories of failing come, imagine wrapping them in the blanket as well. Do not hide from them. Lay them gently where warmth can touch them. The process is slow. The blanket does not erase all marks. It gives them context comfort around the scar instead of constant cold. The mind learns new stories this way. The night becomes less a landscape of judgment and more a place where tenderness tends wounds. Sometimes protection comes from the community rather than a single hand. Think of neighbors bringing wood when the winter bites. Imagine friends sitting quietly in the kitchen while a kettle sings. These small collective acts of care form broader shelter. A single blanket is good. A shared hearth is sturdier. Remember the hands that have tended you already. Let gratitude soften the chest and thicken the weave of the night's blanket. I hold the image of the blanket and the lantern as I lower my voice. The lamp by the bedside weighs its little light across the pages. These images are not solutions to every fear. They are means to breathe and to rest. Draw the blanket up now in your imagining. Feel the small heat. Notice the steadying rhythm of the breath beneath it. Let the promise of being sheltered hold the center of the hour. Shazan. Closing. I close the Bible slowly. The pages make a soft sound. The lamp keeps its glow a little longer. Outside. The house breathes in and out. My hands rest on my knees. The hour we have kept together wins gently toward its end. This time has been for rest. It has been for mercy and for small hope. None of the words were meant to press. They were meant to hold. If any phrase landed in a tender spot, let it settle there without demand. If sleep comes, that is welcome. If wakefulness remains, let the images live like small lamps on the bedside shelf. Before I leave the room, one short practice. Breathe in slowly. Hold a soft beat. Let the breath out like a quiet tide. Bring to mind one small image from the hour, a lamp, a blanket, a stream, a stone. Keep it simple. Let it be a companion for the night. If a thought begins to run, return to the chosen image. Use it as a soft rule to reorient. I do not promise that the morning will erase every trouble. I promise instead that mercy keeps watch. It is present in small acts and in quiet words. The promise of protection does not mean a trouble-free life. It means a steady presence that changes the way trouble sits upon the chest. Let that steadiness be the night's last companion. If you wish, set something small beside the bedwater. A note. The light left dim, so that practical needs are within reach. It is a modest thing. It signals permission to rest, without worry about minor tasks. A tiny external gesture often quiets the mind's repeated lists. I breathe again with the room. The lamp's glow narrows. The Bible lies closed for a little while. The house keeps its hush. My voice grows quieter still. I give thanks for this hour shared. I am grateful for the quiet attention that has arrived here. One last gentle sentence to carry into sleep. You are watched with steady kindness. Let that truth be a small cloth placed over the shoulders. Let it keep you warm through the night. Rest now. Sleep when it comes. If wakefulness returns, return to the images and the breath. Mercy and hope are near. The lamp dims further. The page is folded closed. The room breathes slow. Good night. The lamp holds its small circle of light. The house breathes in a low, patient rhythm. My Bible rests open again on my lap. My finger marks its place. The page feels warm from the lamp. The hour has come to a close, but not without one last reading. I will speak a short blessing. It is one I have read many times at nights like this. It sounds like a promise when the world goes quiet. I speak the blessing slowly. I let each phrase land. Hear the words in the hush. They are simple and plain. May you be kept safe. May you find favor. May you rest in peace. These lines fold into the chest like a soft hand. Consider the first line. Think of being held beneath a high sky. The phrase about being blessed and kept is not a lecture. It is an assurance. It pictures someone who watches with steady attention. The watching is not a glare. It is a presence that does not leave when eyes close. Imagine a small room with the door slightly ajar. A warm light slips through. That light keeps the edges soft. It does not force the whole night to be bright. It simply means the room is not empty. Breathe with me now. Inhale slow and easy. Let the lungs lift just enough. Hold a beat. Let the exhale be a soft releasing. Picture that light resting on your pillow. Feel how the body answers by loosening one small muscle, a jaw, a shoulder, a hand. The next line speaks of a face turned toward you. Think of a dawn that begins as a suggestion. The face that shines is like a morning the heart recognizes. It is not blinding. It is warming. Imagine light on the back of your hand. It is not sudden. It grows. It makes the nearest things clear. In that clarity, the mind finds fewer wild leaps. The breath stays measured. The hope that rises is modest and steady. It is the kind of hope that keeps the next step small and sure. Pause here for a moment. Let the image sit. If the mind wants to chatter, watch the chatter as if it is a bird in the distance. Name the image dawn. Light. Face, and let the bird fly past. Keep breathing. Keep the lamp in the corner of thinking. The phrase about turning the face toward you also carries the idea of attention without demand. It does not list conditions. It simply rests on the reality that someone notices. When a life feels unseen, the night becomes longer. A small recognition shortens it. The sense that someone keeps watch changes how we hold our breath. It says that care is not conditional on performance. It is given in the ordinary pulse of life. The blessing continues with an image of finding favor. That word surprises sometimes. Favor is not always a grand gift. Often it looks like a small door opened, a hand extended, an extra piece of bread placed on the table. It might be a tidy shoelace, a kindly call, a neighbor who brings a blanket to the stoop. These small things are the currency of grace. They arrive quietly. They do their work without fanfare. Expect them. Let them be the proofs you collect tonight. Another breath. Inhale gentle. Hold briefly. Exhale and notice a small easing near the ribs. With each breath, the notion of favor can be tasted like a warm drink. It warms the inside. It does not do away with the chill outside. It makes the chest less brittle. The closing line speaks of peace. Peace is not always a thunderclap of relief. It is often the slow settling of many small stones. Think of a quiet shore. Waves come and go. The tide moves. A child builds a small wall, and the sea kindly laps it away. Peace here is not a denial of trouble. It is the ability to sleep with those waves, knowing a hand holds the small cup of our concerns nearby. Let this be a breathing practice. Inhale, gather one worry. Exhale, give it the name of a small stone and place it at the shore. Inhale, gather one grateful thing. Exhale, taste it like salt and bread. Let the breath be the work of carrying weights to the water and then setting them down. Numbers 62426 has been called a priestly blessing for a long time. It is a few small lines of prayer. It is not complex. Its power comes from its plainness. When I read these words aloud, I mean them like a slow benediction. I want the listener to feel the shape of protection, favor, and peace in the body before the mind analyzes the ideas. Words can be medicine when given slowly. I place my hand briefly on the closed cover of the Bible. The leather is smooth. The book is a neighbor on the lap. The gesture is small, but it is a concrete seal on the hour. It says that something has been set down. That something is not a solution to every trouble. It is a trust that mercy watches. If the chest feels tight, try a tiny motion. Put the palms open on the belly for a breath. Let the fingers rest there like small petals. The act tells the nervous system that rest is permitted. The body is as much in need of invitations as the mind. Gentle posture matters. Unclench the hands a fraction. Let the shoulders fall. The breath will follow. I speak a final sentence to hold for tonight. May you know mercy in the small hours. May your rest be soft and untroubled. May grace find you where you are. These are not promises of an easy road. They are assurances of company and care. They invite the heart to lay down the load. It has carried too long. Carry one image into sleep. Choose the lamp on the bedside. Choose the blanket drawn up around the shoulders. Choose the face of dawn. Keep it simple. If the mind runs, return to the image like a friend who opens the door and invites you back, and use it to steady the breath. Use it to keep watch for gentle things. There is one small practice I offer before I close the book for good. Bring to mind 3 things. One need, one small mercy of the day, and one quiet hope for tomorrow. Name them softly in the mind. Place them on the bedside shelf of thought. Tell them you will look at them in the morning with clearer eyes. This act is an ending and a beginning. It hands items into mercy. It frees the night to heal. If tonight is hard and the hands tremble, set a glass of water near the bed. Leave a notepad and a pen in reach. These practical gestures are not signs of worry. They are permissions to be human. They prevent small anxieties from turning into long lists. Keep these things near, like tools on a bedside table. They say sleep is allowed. Tasks can wait. I fold the page closed and feel its soft thud. The sound is small and final. The lamp's glow narrows. The house breathes as if relieved. My voice grows softer still. This is a room that has met words and let them settle. It is a place where small mercies gather. Now, one last blessing in a few slow lines. The hands of kindness keep watch over you. Favor rests softly upon you. Peace holds your body and your mind. Sleep without fear. Wake with gentleness. Carry this calm into the first part of tomorrow. Let it guide the small steps you must take. Let it be the frame through which you see the day's ordinary mercies. I close the Bible with care. The lamp is lowered a little more. My hand lingers on the cover and then rests. There is nothing left unsaid that would help the night. The house keeps its hush. The breath of the room and the breath you brought here are enough for now. Good night. Rest in peace. Held by steady love. Slaving Gees. Wake to a morning that is met with small hope and tender mercy. Keep the lamp and the blanket and the breath close. They will wait for you when you awaken. The lamp dims. The book rests. The room breathes slow. Good night.